there's a limit to what they were allowed to take on, but because of risk issues. But they took on the number 52, which runs from Ovingdean and Woodingdean along the coast and into the city centre. So yeah, I'll say we do support them. For the first time, they are getting money from the city council. And yeah, there are opportunities there for Tom to expand. You know, he's had the opportunity to prove, you know, he can run a successful bus service, which is very popular with the people there. And soon the key card will operate. Will work on Big Lemon as well, and that's going to be a massive boost to the small companies. And credit to Brighton buses because they are managing that because it's their system. So the same smart card will run on all the bus companies in the city, and that's actually going to be a massive step forward.
Collaboration.
Exactly. And then, so yeah, what we put together is a multi-operator bus partnership which never existed before, and that's part of the reason it's such a great success in the city.
Thank you, Ian. Yeah. That's really helpful. So, Paul, the wider response from the national and political scene.
We first launched the report in 2007, and one of the first things we did was we took it to our local MP, a chap called Lembit Opik. Lembit, straight down to Lib Dem HQ, banged it on the table, said, come on. 6 weeks later, the Liberal Democrats launched a policy called Zero Carbon Brighton, taking a global lead. It had at least half of what we said in it. We thought, excellent. Then we went into government with another party. And the problem is that this huge amount of malinvested money that's in fossil fuel futures is affecting who gets elected, it's affecting what the elected people do. They're also allowed to have jobs being employed by large energy companies, which isn't supposed to influence what they vote for, which is a funny sort of system. So, what we actually require is a cultural shift that makes it, I mean, getting equal pay for women, getting equal rights for different races, getting health and safety in the workplace, they were all expensive shifts. But when you get a cultural shift, government follows. I never thought, when I was 20, we'd have a Tory Prime Minister who goes, I support same-sex marriage. But a cultural shift in society, they'll say, you've got to go with it, David, you've got to go with it. Oh, maybe he does support it, I don't know. But if we have a cultural shift that says, we have to do this to make the earth viable for supporting 9 billion people, then government will go with it. But that means getting it on the telly. The people who are sitting at home watching George Clooney tonight, George Clooney will be talking about it. Just in the same way as we have, you know, different gender relationships on the television, we watch things like I grew up with this chap, Bernard Manning, who would stand up, you know, and say, I wouldn't say my mother-in-law was fat, but it was perfectly normal. Now, if somebody stands up and says on the television, what? That sort of cultural shift needs to happen about these issues.
Are you going to say something?
Yeah, no, after you go.
Just really quick, I can't speak on behalf of the mechanisms of politics, but I know that politicians do listen to what the populace is saying. The populace listens to celebrities. Celebrities love hot trends. Hot trends are quite often started by things that seem really fun. And a good example is Jamie Oliver jumping all over surplus food right now. He thinks Real Junk Food Project is the hottest thing and acting like he invented it. And I think there's real power in that actually when there are positive things and people really just getting excited about it, getting the publicity as well. Celebrities pay attention, the movers and shakers, the Hugh Fernley winning stalls pay attention. And I think politics does pay attention to that as well. So while I do understand there's a lot of backroom stuff, but I think there are politicians who might be in a situation where somebody's trying to lobby them about something, they don't have that relationship, but then they also might be seeing something that looks really fun and positive. And I'm not like a hedonist, but like there's a real power to, like even the low-hanging fruit, you know, the people who are eco-minded, just really like having a grand time of it, and like what you're saying, imagining a really positive future and modeling it. Like I think people do. I think that our challenge is to actually get that into the public mind view. You know, get like the tellies and the newspapers to take notice and to do like splashy stories about it. I think it's really good potentially.
those armies that are the scarier.
And just to pick up the question there, I would also say doing the installation, yeah, it costs money, but it's actually not a cost, it's an investment. And it's an investment that pays off really quickly. So if we have to invest in 20,000 houses to get their energy bills down, that will put more money in all those people's pockets. It will work towards the elimination of fuel poverty in our housing stock, and it'll actually improve our properties permanently. So it's it's an investment we can't not make. So we have to kind of get that message across that it's not that it's a really expensive thing that we can't really do. It's a really expensive. It's an investment that we have to make in the next 10, 20 years to actually transform our housing stock so that it's actually fit for purpose and it's getting the energy bills right down.
And we have lots of money that we've invested in the wrong place. We need to move that money to the right place.
That's what I've spent rather too many years tracking what happens in national policy and climate change and energy use. And one thing that I was thinking about earlier on is it does actually really matter what happens in, I think in Brighton actually matters particularly as an example of what can happen if you try, because in energy policy we spend an awful lot of time writing kind of theory. Energy policy is essentially a whole series of documents, theories, and it's when you see what's happened in Germany, when you see the massive shift towards renewable energy they've had there, when politicians see it happen in practice, and if they see it happen in practice on a small scale in Brighton, that makes a massive difference. And I think you can feel quite kind of isolating. No, it's just us that care. But actually, it really, really matters, what individual kind of beacons do to that national conversation.
So Hanover, remember, the whole country is watching. I think Sarah, question?
It was just really to Paul. I thought it was a fascinating presentation, and I really liked the kind of historical sort of look at it and how it shows what a tiny portion of time that kind of drive around consumption has happened in just a moment in history, really. And you referred to the film The Corporation, which we have shown in Hassel, and I found incredibly kind of powerful. But I just wondered what you thought about corporations and getting this message across to them, and whether you've had much response from industry from your report, and whether you are lobbying industry with it and that kind of thing. Really.
Well, we're certainly making it available to industry, and it's seeing the huge rates of growth that we can get in the renewables industry. But it's a matter of what industry wants is a reliable policy framework that isn't going to flip about as governments get elected and re-elected, and cutting the feed-in tariff rate faster than was actually legal. We've seen lots of companies come to us and train up their workforce to be qualified fitters and installers, and then they whop the feed-in tariff down so fast that it actually creates a surplus of trained people.
Right.
And that actually wastes the money that had been invested in the kickstart subsidies to get the industry growing. Whereas I went to Germany and talked to people, and they just said, no way would that happen. They've had a feed-in tariff since 1989, and they recognise that policy around industry isn't a political football, and you would be chastised heavily by the population for messing about with it in a way that is detrimental to industry, because they have to invest, they have to think ahead. And I suppose it is just a matter of making this positive vision available so that people can begin to imagine seeing all these dappled rays of the future starting, and imagining business models around that.
Okay, we're over time, but we have some more questions, and it's really inspiring stuff, isn't it? So we'll have a question from Simon, and then here at the front.
There's a question for us all, really, as to whether there are any particular projects that you'd like to see pursued in Hanover and how we best go about that. Paul's been leading us with the 10-10 group. Les has some great ideas for electric vehicles. In your report, I think you favour electric vehicles. I guess it depends where electricity comes from too. We could ultimately fix that, perhaps more easily than hydrogen. Paul, in the past you've spoken about, can we do a street and get a street of attics sorted out with a bit of grunt labour from us all, and and helping hands and so on. Are there any, it struck me as when you kind of go around leafleting around here, how many appalling front doors and letterboxes we have. It's so many letterboxes are just holes. And I don't think that. So that's just my pet idea. But are there any other ideas, and how do we best take those forward?
Okay, well, I can say a few things. We've already gotten on the go. Another member of 1010 has already put a bid together to UK Power Networks, which apparently has some surplus money, to get some money to insulate lofts that are not being insulated in Hanover. But dealing with that key issue of decluttering. Many people don't insulate their lofts because it's just too much work, or they're too old to get all the garbage out there. They have to re-salt it and rehome that stuff. So that project is going to be offering people to actually help them declutter their lofts and get them insulated. So we're hopeful we're going to get that grant, and if we do, then there'll be lots of publicity about it, because we do want to kind of make the most of that, because it's small scale. You know, it's, you know, we need to be doing hundreds of them to be able to make a big difference in this local area. So it's about challenging the kind of key issues, and that's kind of one thing that came up about why people don't insulate their lofts. And some of the barriers to that. There are other things about, you know, landlords, you know, and the appalling energy rating of their homes they can get away with. It's really instructive that the regulation on multiple occupancies, which was introduced in this local area, led to 237 houses being insulated for the first time in this area. Now that's the council deciding to regulate that. And it's just like, well, that's 237 times X number of tenants who are suffering from an appallingly insulated house that have been sorted out. So there are lots of things that do need to be taken forward by community groups, but also, you know, by the council through formal mechanisms as well, to actually put that responsibility back on to homeowners to do the right thing with their property, whether they're living in it or not.
Excellent work, excellent work. The earlier part of your question, Simon, if I could amplify that, was, are there any other ideas, anything else we should be doing other than everything we've heard of? Has anyone anything immediate thought about that? Les?
Can I put a plug in for St Luke's Primary School up near Queen's Park, which is part of the 1010 Solar Schools project. They're 2/3 of their way to their fundraising target for getting 40 panels on top of the